Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this virtual edition of the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission's board meeting. The time is 11:11, and I'm calling this meeting to order. Mr. Saeed, can you please read the notice of the public meeting?
Chairwoman, this is a special meeting of the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission. This meeting was noticed to the Asbury Park Press, Press of Atlantic City, Star Ledger, Bergen Record, Trenton Times, and the Courier Post on August 14th, 2023, in accordance with the Senator Byron M. Baer Open Public Meetings Act. The agenda and information regarding the virtual nature of the meeting was also posted on the CRC website. The meeting time and location has also been posted on the website of the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission and with the Office of the Secretary of the State.
Thank you, Mr. Saeed. Can you please take roll call?
Sure. Commissioner Barker.
Present.
Commissioner Del Cid Coso is absent. Commissioner Nash. We didn't hear you.
Present.
Okay. Vice Chair Delgado
Present.
and Chairwoman Waynu.
Present.
We now have a quorum. The first order of business is the chair's report.
Thank you. For today's chair's report, I want to note a few items. First and foremost is that there is an agenda change from what is posted on the website. Today, we will not have an executive session, so the commission will just continue on through the preliminary reports and then the cannabis adult use applications that we have on deck. Also, I want to note that the September 8th board meeting will be back in our regular location at 44 South Clinton Avenue in Trenton. So be mindful of that and stay tuned for major announcements that will be shared in the coming weeks. We'll have updates on previously discussed regulatory updates and priorities, new initiatives, and industry assessments. While more detail will be forthcoming, preliminary assessments are showing that with nearly 200 annual licenses already approved, the agency has made tremendous progress in expanding the number of cannabis shops that are open for business. In the last few months, we've seen several newly created adult use cannabis businesses open their doors to the public, including representation from social equity businesses. And while the NJCRC acknowledges that the biggest barriers to businesses opening up are outside the control of the commission, and many times even outside the control of the business owners, what we're seeing is that many businesses are having difficulty securing property, further frustrated by landlords who are changing the terms of an agreement at the last minute. There have been construction and construction permitting delays and lengthy municipal approval processes. And together, these barriers are leading nearly 3 out of 4 conditional license holders to request more time before submitting an annual license application. I myself have heard directly from individuals who are opting to purchase unregulated marijuana from the legacy or underground market because they are waiting for local businesses to open up before switching to regulated products. This is a position we've heard for quite some time, that consumers are using their purchasing power to convey the message that they want to support more local entrepreneurs. It is, I believe, an understandable position, despite the risks that consumers take when buying marijuana items that haven't necessarily been through testing and quality control measures. We do encourage consumers to buy products from the regulated businesses so that they can feel some level of confidence in the products that they are buying. But meanwhile, the commission continues to approve applications and expand product availability. And as businesses get past these hurdles, we will continue to see more stores opening up to the public. So I am looking forward to sharing the further details in the industry assessments and regulatory updates that we'll be sharing soon. And that is all I have for today's Chair's report.
Next on the agenda is the Executive Director's report.
Thank you, Director Brown. You have the floor.
Thank you, Chairwoman. So I'm going to try and be as brief as possible. I know we want to get to the applications, get those approved. So first slide, please. I did want to update the public and the commission on new dispensary openings, both medical dispensaries and adult use retailers. We have new alternative treatment centers opening, on a weekly basis. Downtown Flower is now open in Jersey City, Honey Grove in Gloucester, Block in Waretown, and it's great. We have now a medical dispensary and a recreational adult use dispensary in Ocean County. We have new recreational only dispensaries opening, notably since we last met, Kind Kush in Rockaway Borough, Cookies Harrison in Harrison, Leaf House in Somerset, Mountain View Pharmacy in West Milford, the Social Leaf in South Toms River, and Union Chill in Lambertville. And then finally, more and more alternative treatment centers are expanding into recreational and being approved to do so. Whether they've done that yet or not, these are approved. Design 710 in Atlantic City, Urban in Newark, and MPX in Sicklerville. So more stores are opening by the week, and we're happy to see that, and certainly want to see that accelerate. Next slide, please. So secondly, I'm going to be talking, we have revenue numbers for sales and revenue numbers for the second quarter of calendar year 2023. The market saw expansion once again, quarter over quarter. So we saw another 10% increase in recreational sales from 145 million in Q1 of 2023 to 160 million in Q2 of 2023. Tax revenue did not see as high of an increase. So the sales and use tax only increased about 1.4%. But we did see a significant increase in social equity excise fee, largely because more cannabis is being transferred to manufacturers and to retail outlets, thus triggering the social equity excise fee. Overall, revenue increased from 9.8 million. Revenue to the state increased from 9.8 million in Q1 of 2023 to nearly 10.2 million in Q2 of 2023. I will note that, preliminarily, we've already seen an increase in July versus June for sales. And as soon as we have numbers for Q3 here, we will share those out with the public. So the market continues to expand, and we're excited to see that. And certainly, as more stores open, we will start to see this accelerate. Next slide, please. On the medicinal side, medicinal sales came down a little bit, but not as big of an increase or decrease as the previous quarter. The previous quarter dropped from about 49 million to 34 million. This quarter, there were 33 million, just under 33 million in medicinal sales. So we still continue to see significant sales in the medicinal market. Next slide, please. So I did want to just call out some factors that, and the chairwoman touched on some of these, but things that we hear from consumers are impacting their willingness to go to legal stores, the sort of policy issues that we see in the market. So number one is price. Prices are still very high, and that's a barrier for consumers accessing the legal market. The legal market is safe, it's tested, it's well regulated, and it's important that consumers know that if you don't buy legal, then you don't have the guaranteed safety, you don't have third-party testing, you don't have the regulations in place to protect you like you do in the legal market. But prices are still very high, and that is pushing consumers away from the legal market. Accessibility, as more stores open, sales will increase. As it becomes more convenient for adults to access legal cannabis stores, they will be more likely to do so. And lastly, I did want to call out and I've mentioned this before to the board and in these meetings, but we are seeing that Delta 8 and Delta 9 hemp products, and I'm putting hemp in quotes, which I'll explain. We're seeing a proliferation of these products at cheaper prices and product diversity than the legal market. These products are in a legal gray area. They're unregulated and they pose serious consumer safety concerns. One caveat: New Jersey licensed hemp is well regulated, and Delta 8, Delta 9 hemp products are not allowed to be made here. So consumers, if you're purchasing hemp, you can be confident purchasing from New Jersey licensed hemp producers. But there's a lot of these gray area products coming in from out of state, and they are in a lot of cases cheaper than what's available in legal stores. And so when consumers aren't educated and they don't understand the serious consumer safety risks that they pose, the fact that the testing might not occur, what's in them might not be consistent with what's on the labels, you know, it is but they are all over, and they are impacting legal sales here. I will note that we expect, as we did last year, to have a detailed report on prices at our next meeting, diving into that issue in more detail. Related to accessibility and pricing is getting stores and businesses open and operational. And even before the awards that are considered today, the commission has now issued awards to 1,200 conditional license holders. As our chairwoman mentioned, she elucidated some of the challenges that they are facing trying to convert to annual licenses. But we've also approved, the commission has approved 105 conversions to annual, 86 annuals, and issued 55 expanded ATC licenses. So that means in total, there are now 246 operating licenses either awarded or issued in this market. And that after today, that's going to grow, and it's going to continue to grow. Next slide, please. Overall, looking at licensing, we've now received close to 2,200 applications. Of those, nearly 1,400 have been approved. 300 are sitting in rejected status. That means they had an issue with their application. It's been rejected and they have not resubmitted. There's 181 applications in the Office of Licensing currently, and 179 in our Office of Compliance and Investigations. We are seeing encouraging, although, you know, acknowledging the barriers that we see in the market. More conditionals are in fact applying to convert to annual, and now there are 349 conditional conversions that have been submitted, and we're getting new submissions every week. Up for consideration today are 30 conditional to annual conversion applications and 11 annual applications, which will, if approved, will increase those numbers of operating licenses that have been approved by the board and just pending a final inspection. And that, I believe, should do it for my report for today. Thank you, Chairwoman.
Thank you, Director Brown. Mr. Saeed, can you announce the next agenda item?
The next items for consideration are the adult use cannabis business conditional to annual conversion license applications.
Thank you. Director Brown, can you please provide a summary of the applications received by staff?
Yes, thank you, Chairwoman Wenu. So today we have 30 conversion licenses up for consideration. These are all applicants that were issued a conditional license and then now have applied to convert to annual license. They have undergone priority assignment upon being submitted. That priority is verified, whether they're social equity businesses, diversely owned businesses, impact zone businesses, have bonus points, or are just general applicants. They are then reviewed in accordance with that priority. They have undergone completeness review and been deemed complete, and they've been scored and have scored sufficiently high to be approved by the commission. Finally, they have all undergone review for qualification, limitations, financial management, and agreement review. So that means we've looked at their initially at their FSAs, management services agreements, if they have them, made sure they don't violate any of our limitations, regulations, and then also have undergone the criminal history background check and background investigation. Finally, so they've all been assessed and undergone quality control, and are now these 30 conversion applications, which are 8 cultivators, 4 manufacturers, and 18 retailers, are recommended for approval by the board of the CRC. And thank you, Madam Chair. Back to you.
Thank you, Director Brown. Are there any questions from the board on the information provided by Director Brown about these license applications? All right, hearing none. I will note as staff are rotating through the applications, for the members of the public, this list is on our website. If you go to nj.gov/cannabis/meetings, on our agenda, we have hyperlinked the list of applications that are up for consideration today. With that, is there a motion on this matter?
Madam Chairwoman, I move that we approve the conditional to annual license conversions of the 8 cultivators, 4 manufacturers, and 18 retailers, as presented by the Executive Director.
Moved by Vice Chair Delgado. Thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Madam. Defer to Commissioner Nash.
All right, seconded by Commissioner Nash. Is there any discussion on this motion to approve the conditional to annual license applications? Hearing no discussion, Mr. Saeed, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wayno.
Yes.
The resolution passes. The next items for consideration are the adult use cannabis business annual license applications.
All right, and here I believe we will be considering this in two steps. We've got a first group of annual license applications, and we do have a recusal for one application, so we'll consider that separately. So with that, I will turn it over to Director Brown to provide a summary of the applications received.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have 11 total annual licenses, and I'm going to run through the process for all, and then we'll do the 10. And as our chair mentioned, then there will be one separately. So annual licenses, similar to conversion from conditional to annual. First, they are assigned a priority based on whether they are social equity, diversity owned, impact zone, or otherwise. That priority is verified. They undergo completeness review. These applications have been deemed complete. They undergo scoring. These applications have scored sufficiently high to be approved by the commission. They then undergo review for qualification, limitations, financial and management agreement review. That includes criminal history background checks, as well as reviews against our regulations to make sure there's no issues with limitations or otherwise, or qualification. They have all been assessed and based on that, and undergone quality control, are recommended for approval by the CRC Board of Commissioners.
Thank you. And similarly to the conditional to annual license applications, this list of annual direct to annual license applications is posted on our website. With that, are there any questions from the board for Director Brown regarding the information provided? Hearing none, is there a motion on this matter?
Madam Chairwoman, I move that we accept the annual licenses as presented by the Executive Director.
Moved by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there a second?
Second.
Madam.
Seconded by Commissioner Nash. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion, Mr. Saeed, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wenu.
Yes.
The resolution passes. Next item for consideration is the annual license application number 2047. Commissioner Nash has recused herself from application 2047 for Bridge City Collective Franklin Township Cannabis Dispensary LLC. On account of her recusal, she will remove herself from the public meeting while the board considers this particular application. Afterward, Commissioner Nash will come back in and will take up the next order of business.
Thank you. And Commissioner Nash has now stepped out. Great. Director Brown, back to you for any summary remarks with respect to this application.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I'll just state on the record that this application followed the exact same process I outlined for the other 10 annual applications, and as such, scored sufficiently high to be considered by the application, is complete, and is recommended for approval by the CRC Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Director Brown. Are there any questions from the board for Director Brown on this particular application? All right, hearing no questions. Is there a motion on this application?
Madam Chairwoman, I move that we vote on Bridge City Collective Franklin Cannabis Dispensary LLC.
And Vice Chair Delgado, when you say you vote that we move to
Accept.
vote.
To vote on, yes.
All right, you mean to, I presume you mean to approve
To
the
approve.
license application. Thank you. Is there a second on this motion to approve the license application number 2047? I will second the motion. Is there any discussion on this motion to approve the license application for application number 2047? Hearing no discussion, Mr. Saeed, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye, on the condition that the applicant Bridge City Collective provides the commission with its detailed social responsibility plan that it referenced in its application prior to the license being issued. Executive Director, are you okay with that?
I am fine with that. We've in fact already requested said document, so.
Thank you.
okay. Commissioner Nash is recused. Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wenu,
Yes.
the resolution passes. Next item on the agenda is the open public comment period.
Thank you. And while we wait for Commissioner Nash to join us again, I will note that members of the public can submit their comments to the board during and after this meeting in writing via our website, nj.gov/cannabis/meetings. Comments that are shared with the public are comments shared with the board are made public. And the deadline for submitting written comments for this meeting is Monday, 5 o'clock, and that is Monday the 21st, August 21st at 5 p.m. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. So you will hear Mr. Saeed calling out the registered speakers. Once you hear your name called, please raise your hand in the Zoom feature so that we can identify you and unmute you. If you are using a name that is not very descriptive, we may not be able to identify you. For example, I see a Michael with no last name, someone with the initials SL and SB. So folks, if you can make sure that your name as it appears on Zoom is written exactly as you as the name that you use to register to speak. Otherwise, we may not be able to identify you as the individual who registered to speak. And so we want to make sure anybody who has registered has the opportunity to provide their comments. So if you are unsure whether your name appears correctly, I encourage you to log off of the meeting, log back in, and you should be prompted to enter your name and an email address. If you are not, then it might be because you are using an older version of a Zoom. But that is the only, unfortunately, that's the only way that we can identify our properly registered speakers. So with that, Mr. Saeed, can you please call on the first set of speakers for today?
Sure. Thank you, Chairwoman. As a reminder, public speakers during this afternoon's public comment period will be limited to 3 minutes. Please be respectful and concise during your comments. I'll call out the first 3. Bilal Naji, Chris Goldstein, and David Fetter. Please raise your hands if you're in the meeting. Okay, I see Chris Goldstein.
Yes, thank you. Just making sure I'm unmuted.
Yes, you are.
All right, thank you. First of all, I want to say I'm looking very much forward to the price report next week. Today, I wanted to address the meeting as a New Jersey cannabis consumer. And we're pretty disappointed with prices. Millions of us showed up to approve retail sales, and now so many working class consumers in New Jersey simply can't afford to access the dispensaries. Let's put this into perspective. The average price for a case of beer in New Jersey, we're talking about 12-ounce can, is $19.30. Now, you could have like a nice little party with that in an evening. You could serve a few beers to your friends over dinner for 20 bucks. But the average price for just 3.5 grams of regulated adult use cannabis is still around 60 bucks here in New Jersey. And that is just maybe 5 or 6 joints. So legacy providers are providing us a steady supply at about half the price and with 0% tax. And that's not really helping anybody. And the idea of buying regulated cannabis to stay safe just doesn't play that we should stay within the state's borders anymore. Maryland recently debuted retail adult use sales at an average price of $35 an eighth for consumers. And if we're willing to take a day trip up to Maine, you can find a good quality variety of full ounces, that's 28 grams, for $75 each. So including the price of gas and tolls and a lobster roll, it's cheaper for me to drive up to Maine to buy regulated, laboratory-tested adult use cannabis, and in some cases, from the very same corporations that are selling it for 5 to 8 times as much here in New Jersey. So, oddly enough, the Maine and Maryland regulations are not that far out from New Jersey. They're not that far different. So I really do look forward to seeing this report that's coming out, in the next meeting to see what's going on with prices. Because again, most of the voters went to the polls to stop the arrests. And we're talking about 100 people getting arrested every day. Consumers really bore the brunt of prohibition. We deserve a little bit better, and we deserve a fair price now that legalization is here. Thank you.
Thank you. And just a note, we are having some technical difficulties with our timer, but we have staff who are keeping track of the time, and we will interject just to give commenters an update on how much time they have left. So bear with us as we continue to work on our technology skills with this timer. Mr. Saeed, you may call on the next speaker.
Sure. Is there Bilal Naji or David Fetter? Okay, I don't see them. So I'll move on to the next three. Diana McElroy, Dickens Sider, and Hugh Giordano. All right, I see Hugh Giordano. All right.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. Good afternoon, CRC, and I hope everybody's having a good day along with the staff of the CRC. As everybody knows, my name is Hugh Giordano. I work for the UFCW. The UFCW is the union that represents cannabis workers from seed to sale, is the official labor union of the AFL-CIO. CRC, I come to you today. I'm going to start with negative news first, because it's my job. It's my job to report back to you, and I want it on record, because not only is it my job to report back, but it's also state law that workers have the right to form and join a union. We are having issues with TerraSend, the apothecarium. And I want to make this clear. We believe that the working class management on the ground, they are not the enemy. They're working people. Management on the ground who's in the stores 40 to 60 hours a week, they're working people. And we understand that any order that comes to them comes from the executive level. Workers are being told in front of our union reps that they are not allowed to verbally speak about the UFCW. And that was clear. That all information that is given to workers, whether it's on their break, whether it's just swag when we're purchasing, medical products, when we're treated like regular customers, should be given to management immediately. That is against federal law, and they're breaking the law when they do that. You can expect NLRB charges in the coming weeks. We have reached out to TerraSend in the past. I have, one thing that everybody knows about me is I extend the olive branch. And I've extended it to TerraSend more than once over the years, saying we should have a relationship, that we should work together. Why is it that every other MSO can do that? Why is it that I can contact Ascend or I can contact GTI and I get positive responses back? Why is it that other MSOs can have a good relationship with the UFCW, but they can't? And not only is it about the relationship, it's about what they're doing to the workers. They're breaking the state law as well. Labor peace is the law of the land. And if you don't want to do the law, then you're spitting in the face of the CRC and the Assembly and Senate and the governor's office. So that's exactly what's happening. And I want to make that clear. We will continue to talk to those workers. We will continue to do our job, and that's what's going on. So some positive news. The workers at MPX have joined our union in Gloucester Township. We're so excited. MPX was a great partner. The executive level, every time I got in contact with them, it was not an issue. We follow the LPA, good partners. I also want to let you know that Cure Relief workers have joined the UFCW in Winslow, and that there are good employers out there. That Suzanne Nicholson, Dana of the Flower Garden in East Orange, good people. So thank you, CRC.
Thank you, Hugh.
Bye-bye.
Next up is Jeffrey Roisman, Carissa Miller, and Margarita Salyuk. I see Diana McElroy, so I will go to you. Go ahead, Diana.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Just as a precaution, I will signal when it's 30 seconds left.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure.
Timing is everything. Thank you, Hugh, for everything you do in New Jersey for the workers' rights. We appreciate you. I actually am here to speak about children and the messaging that we give regarding cannabis or cannabis usage is becoming more and more normal in public. The smell, the distinct smell. And I think we need to roll out a program where we discuss why some people medicate, why it's called adult use versus, something for kids to pick up, unless they are patients in the program. And that has to be discussed as well, that there are products that are helping kids. I think it's all part of a destigmatization and an open and honest conversation that we need to have. And I think that's going to really help elevate this industry in New Jersey. And if anyone knows how to change my name so it comes up with the double A's, I would really appreciate it. Thank you and have a great Friday.
Thank you. I see a Rita, but I'm not sure if that is the same Rita. I'm just going to allow that person to speak to confirm if that's okay.
Okay.
Rita,
Hello.
yes?
Hi, this is Rita Tsaluk, same as Margarita Tsaluk. Yes, same person.
Okay, go ahead.
So my name is Rita Tsaluk. I'm CEO of Yuma Way, operating in New Jersey, Yuma Way NJ, and we are part of 2019 medical awardees. And so it's been 5 years for us since we applied for medical market, and we just was able to open as medical. So I want to first to give kudos to the regulators in New Jersey for giving us an ability to work with investigator. Our investigator is wonderful. She is always available to us, and she's always, her name is Catherine Brandt, and she always pick up our calls and also always answering questions. We operate in 5 different states, and this is more than we've seen anywhere. I think that maybe we need an improvement, and maybe you can help us. Maybe we're just new to the market. We're trying to, seems like we were already approved for the conversion, but we have no idea how to understand when we can be scheduled for how we can see agenda for the next meeting, and if we're scheduled for the next meeting. And we're really hurting. I've seen numbers that you guys presented on medical. On the ground, it looks quite different. We see maximum of 5 patients a day, despite a lot of money put into advertisement. We started with 8 employees in 6 more ready to join as well. And now we only have 2 employees been operating for 2 months. We are struggling. We were waiting for 5 years, and now we continue waiting. So if anybody could please let me know how to find out when we could be included in agendas, that would really, really help us. And another thing that we think that they maybe should be improved in New Jersey, it takes about a month to get somebody approved for their badge, for their card. And in Colorado, it takes just as long almost, but then when you change in companies, you don't need to be reapproved. In New Jersey, you do. So it's hard to hire somebody and maintain as a staff. So if anything can be done with that, I think it will be very appropriate. And I also think, as the previous speakers spoke, we need to work on education.
You have 30 seconds remaining.
Of New Jersey market, and we're going to try to help you with it as much as we can. We're experienced operators and looking forward to work with the state. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Jeffrey Roisman or Carissa Miller? Peter White? Okay, I see Peter White. Go ahead, Peter.
Thank you. I'm Peter, UFCW. I want to thank the CRC for all that you are doing, you know, and I'm actually here today to talk about the Columbia Care Cultivation Site in Vineland at 5 Northwest Avenue. We do not have a current LPA with the company, but the employees at the facility have chose UFCW as their union representatives. April 5th, we had a majority of workers. So we filed for a card check with the State Board of Mediations. The State Board of Mediations wouldn't do a card check because the company's position was they should go to an NLRB election. So we pivoted, we filed for an NLRB election with the NLRB, and then the company took the position that they're agricultural workers, that they aren't entitled to an election. So it left us pivoting again and going back to the State Board of Mediations like we did many months ago. But that's not the reason I am here today. I'm here today to talk about how the workers are actually suffering from the company's games. There are serious safety issues within the facility. The workers are currently working with bleach, sulfuric acid, xylitol, and other chemicals, and sometimes without the proper PPE to protect themselves. The other day, the drains were smoking due to chemical reactions after bleach was poured down them. There's also issues with the HVAC and even power outages within the building. Due to these power outages and HVAC issues, there's mildew and mold within the building, and but more importantly, the PM on the plants. And the concern for the staff is more or less, you know, the respiratory issues that could come from all this. But unfortunately, without a union, these employees cannot go to management or supervisors with these issues due to fear of retaliation or threats about losing their livelihood. So even with the workers who even with the workers who openly support the union are getting disciplined, retaliated against, and harassed due to the union activity. Management is openly bashing the union.
You have 30 seconds remaining.
During meetings. Currently, they are trying to hire more employees to try to keep the union out. I'm here to let the CRC know what is going on at Columbia Care, and the employees are asking for help from the CRC. So I just want to thank you for your time and all the hard work you guys do, and thank you.
Thank you. I'll go over the names of people that I called that did not show up or raise their hands. Bilal Naji, David Fetter, Jeffrey Roisman, and Carissa Miller. I don't see anyone else. So that looks as like everyone that we have for registered speakers, Chairwoman.
Thank you. And just a reminder to all the members of the public, you can submit comments to the board by going to our website, nj.gov/cannabis/meetings, and submitting written comments. And the deadline to provide written comments is 5:00 p.m. on Monday, August 21st. This concludes the business that we have before us today. Is there any new business for the board to consider? Hearing none, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chairwoman, I move that we adjourn our meeting here on August 18th.
Moved by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there a second?
Second, Madam Chair.
Seconded by Commissioner Barker. Is there any discussion on the motion to adjourn? Hearing none, all those in favor of adjourning say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Are there any abstentions? All right, hearing none, the motion passes. The time is 11:55 and we are adjourned. Thank you everyone for joining today's virtual meeting. Please stay tuned to our website for more details and information on the next board meeting currently scheduled for September 8th. Thanks everyone and have a great weekend.